Should Carlee Russell be charged? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, BTK killer. Is everyone a serial killer these days? Who hasn't wanted to lock your kid into a room? Just kidding. What did I say the other day about hiring a hitman? Just saying. And then finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment, and always remember to hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. And remember, if you want to listen to us on any of your favorite podcasting apps, you can do that. Just simply type in Crime Talk. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for July 21st of 2023. And first on the docket, Carlee Nicole Russell is a student nurse from Hoover, Alabama. She allegedly went missing on July 13th for 2 days after what was revealed by police as a calm phone call to 911 about an unaccompanied male toddler on the side of the road of I-459 interstate. While Miss Russell was on her way back from her job at the Woodhouse Day Spa in Birmingham, Alabama. She left work between 8:20 and 8:30 p.m. and later stopped by a Target store to get a snack. After stocking up, she then made a 13-mile drive south towards her parents' home, a journey that would usually take roughly 25 minutes. At about 9:34 p.m., over an hour after she departed from work, footage shows her slowing down while flashing her hazards near the 11-mile marker on the interstate. She then called 911 and told 911 that a male toddler was wearing a diaper walking on the side of the interstate. She called her brother's girlfriend, who heard Miss Russell ask the toddler, "Are you okay?" Shortly after that, she screamed before the phone call ended. At about 9:40 p.m., police arrived at her last known whereabouts only 5 minutes after she made the 911 call, only to find her car still running, her wig, phone, purse, Apple Watch, and some previously ordered takeaway food being there. No reports besides Miss Russell's were made about a lone toddler walking on the road on July 13th. Miss Russell's family quickly, obviously being concerned, sprung into action after her disappearance, handing out missing persons leaflets, coordinating volunteer-led searches, and looking for her in the area where she was last seen. The family also spread the word on social media, pleading with users for clues as the Alabama police began their investigation. But things turned sour for the family as a conspiracy theorist soon began to flood the internet about their daughter's disappearance. Now, during her daughter's disappearance, Carlee Russell received a hoax text from an unknown person claiming to be Miss Russell staying at a motel. The family went to the motel, but there was no sign of their daughter in the general area. The city-run Crime Stoppers also set up a donation line in the wake of Miss Russell's disappearance, raising some $63,000 by the time that she reappeared on Saturday. Now, the family is not involved with the donation line and did not receive any money from any of the donations. Miss Russell showed up at her parents' home banging on the door on Saturday evening, just 2 days after her disappearance. Her parents explained that their daughter was in a bad way after having to fight for her life. They tried to hug their daughter but had to stand away because she was in a bad state, according to Miss Russell's mother. Now, in another interview with the Hoover Police Department, she said a man with an orange hair came from the trees to check on the crying toddler, but then grabbed her, dragged her over the fence and into the car. Well, the chief of police there in Hoover said that she said the next thing she remembered was being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler and that there was a female whose voice she heard, but who she did not see. Miss Russell claimed the two placed a blindfold on her, but did not restrain her as they wanted to avoid marks on her skin. She also allegedly told police that she was not physically or sexually abused by the pair, but they did force her to strip and took images of her body. She mentioned that she escaped and was taken again by a pair to an abduction trailer. Hoover police have now unveiled new information indicating that her kidnapping story, well, let's just say may not be true. Well, or just a complete fabrication. Now, as the police could not find any evidence of the alleged toddler wandering on the side of the road, at a press conference, the Hoover police said they were wary of believing Miss Russell's testimony after they couldn't verify the majority of her initial testimony, and they were also questioning her mental state. They said there is no threat to public safety, and Miss Russell is now being non-compliant, i.e., not talking to the police any further. And just prior to her disappearance, she also looked up the movie Taken and if she was too old to trigger an Amber Alert. She also made the following Google searches on the Thursday she vanished: how to take money from a register without being caught, Birmingham bus station, and one-way tickets from Birmingham to Nashville. She also researched other terms in relation to disappearance and kidnapping on the day that she went missing. There's video footage showing her stealing items and a dark robe from her workplace. And during her pit stop between work and going missing, she also purchased Cheez-Its and granola bars from Target. Now, individuals associated with the Crime Stoppers from Metro Alabama said that the money was being refunded in light of Miss Russell's reappearance. Well, Miss Russell's parents have not yet commented on this new evidence brought to light. They probably shouldn't, but it's also unclear whether she should be charged. The police aren't saying, and they're doing everything they can to basically avoid saying that she lied, that she's a liar. Like I noted, she's not cooperating with the police any further, and the question is, should she be charged? Let's see a show of hands who thinks she should be charged. Yes, I believe she should be charged. She wasted all those valuable resources looking for her, what appears to be some sort of attention-grabbing scheme that obviously failed miserably. I say charge away. Yes, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. That's what the BTK serial killer Dennis Rader is saying. Now, Dennis Rader was arrested in 2005 after killing 10 people in Kansas and claims that the accused Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann is nothing more than a cheap copycat. After hearing details surrounding the Gilgo Beach murders, that's right, he took to pen and paper to claim his superiority. In an interview, Rader said he spotted numerous similarities between himself and Heuermann, who was arrested in Manhattan on July 13th for the deaths of only 3 women found at the Long Island Gilgo Beach in 2010. Heuermann, a 59-year-old married architect with 2 children, had been living unnoticed in the Massapequa Park home near the former Nassau County Police Academy while commuting to Manhattan for work. That's right, the BTK guy, Rader, says, I was arrested at age 59. Notice the coincidence? Married, 2 kids. Coincidence? Not according to BTK. And the husband, dad, and a longtime serial killer stalker used electronic devices, lives in a neighborhood undetected. That's right. In 2005, the police arrested Rader years after he eluded and taunted investigators and the media. His trail of digital evidence is what eventually helped police capture him. He then nicknamed himself BTK, which stood for Bind, Torture, and Kill. Mr. Heuermann, an alleged copycat, as you know, has been suspected and charged in the death of 3 women found on the Long Island beach over a decade ago. And he's believed to have possibly killed at least 1 victim at his home there in Massapequa Park, according to law enforcement. Now, it's unclear which victim the investigators believe was murdered in Heuermann's residence, but it's also suspected that his wife and 2 children were away from the home when this alleged killing took place. As we've noted previously, Heuermann is charged with the death of 3 of the 4 women known collectively as the Gilgo 4. The bodies were found within days of each other on Gilgo Beach back in December of 2010. All 4 women were buried in burlap sacks. Take that, BTK. Heuermann was been charged with 6 counts of murder in the deaths of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Lim Costello, and is the prime suspect in the death of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Now, I'm just going to bring this out. If you've been a fan here for a while and watched, we've talked about the 12 undeniable truths of life from a criminal defense attorney. Yes, and what is one of those undeniable truths? That's right, everybody has a second life. And usually those second lives get exposed when things like this come about, getting charged for being a serial killer. But it just throws that out there. From my experiences doing criminal defense, usually when people get in trouble, they're doing something that they're not telling everybody else about, that they have a second life, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not saying if you got a second life, maybe, sure, you didn't tell your spouse that maybe you stashed away a little extra money for a Christmas fund or something along those lines. That's not a double life. But if you're out doing things you probably shouldn't be doing and you don't want to tell your spouse about, I think that qualifies as a double life. And so we can see Rex Heuermann, Raider, double life. Next on the docket, is everyone a serial killer these days? Man, we got the guy on the East Coast, we had the guy on the West Coast earlier in the week, and now we got somebody right there in middle America. A 25-year-old Dallas man has been arrested on suspicion of murdering 3 women, including 2 sex workers, in a case with some similarities to the Gilgo Beach murder. According to investigators, Oscar Sanchez Garcia was arrested on Wednesday on suspicion of murdering Cherish Gibson and Kimberly Robinson. Their bodies were found in a grassy patch next to the Trinity River earlier this year, and a third unidentified body was also found nearby. Now, police allege that DNA links Sanchez Garcia to the crimes, and there are now fears that he may be responsible for other killings in the area, and he's being held in custody on a $2 million bond. There's also an immigration hold against him, according to police. Now, Miss Robinson's body was found in April underneath a light rail bridge, and she had been stabbed several times. Gibson's partially naked and mutilated body was found by a fisherman on June 24th. She also had been stabbed multiple times. The third unidentified victim was found on June 15th with similar injuries. Now, much like the Gilgo Beach serial killer case, police say DNA and cell phone records linked the suspect to the crime. On the days both women died, Sanchez Garcia's cell phone records show he was in the area at the same time. It's unclear exactly what kind of DNA evidence police have against him at this time, but as you may recall, in the Gilgo Beach case, detectives found hairs belonging to both suspects, Rex Heuermann and his wife, on the victim's corpse. Next on the docket, Parents of the Year. A Milwaukee mother has been charged with child neglect and imprisonment because she locked her children in the bedroom so they wouldn't wander off due to their autism, according to the criminal complaint that has been filed. Now, the woman's boyfriend also boarded up the kids' windows so they couldn't bother their nosy neighbors, according to the court records. Now, Katie Koch and lover Joel Mankey were both arrested after her children escaped from the horror home on July 13th. The boys, aged 7 and 9, smashed a window and escaped naked and bloody, where neighbors found them waiting in the street. Now, in the somewhat tragic sight, the children boarded up windows could still be seen draped with feces-clad curtains featuring the popular children's animation Paw Patrol. Now, the criminal complaint filed in the Milwaukee Circuit Court reveals that the domestic situation and the extent of the abuse of the children. The document describes how an officer spoke to the couple about the boards on the bedroom windows, to which Mankey said they were to keep the children from bothering the nosy neighbors. Koch also told the officers that there were bolts on the kids' bedroom so that she could lock them up at night to stop them from wandering around due to their autism. I mean, come on. I guess that's the defense. Who hasn't wanted to lock your kids up in their room occasionally throughout their life? Yeah, but you can't do it when you're going to abuse and neglect them. That's not parental discipline. Well, needless to say, the police visit to the home also revealed a terrible hoarding situation, and the responding officer had trouble even seeing the floor. The police observed the kitchen piled with trash and garbage, as well as the living room. According to the complaint, the smell of feces and urine filled the residence as well. There was a mound of trash and garbage outside of the children's room. The door was halfway opened, and a greater amount of urine and feces smell became present as the officers approached the room. The children's room has feces smeared all over the walls of the rooms as well. The officers observed how the 9-year-old had red markings on his back, behind his shoulder, and on his lower back. The children, who were naked, were taken from the residence by the officers, needless to say, and are now in the care of Human Services. Now, the document also states that Koch's appearance was disheveled and she appeared to be flustered and anxious when the police arrived. Now, both Koch and Mankey's preliminary hearing are set for July 26, and if they are convicted of all of the charges, they are looking at up to 43 years in prison and a $120,000 fine. Koch faces an additional $20,000 in fines and another 18 months in prison for multiple misdemeanor counts. All right, what did I tell you the other day about murder for hire schemes? They never work. And once again, the website of Hire a Hitman is at the center of the story. An 18-year-old woman is charged with soliciting murder after she allegedly attempted to hire a hitman on a parody website to kill her 3-year-old son. Now, according to the police, Jasmine Paez allegedly contacted somebody on the website, rentahitman.com, and asked for someone to kill her son almost immediately. Paez reportedly sent photos of her son on the site and shared where exactly he would be on the day of the hit. Now, Paez reached out to the administrators for rentahitman.com on Tuesday, July 18th, and requested the action be done by July 20th. She reportedly said she would pay $3,000. Now, the man who runs the parody website tried reaching out to the officials in Miami-Dade Police Department, but they kept referring him to Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers then told the administrator they would issue a cease and desist letter if he kept contacting them. Eventually, investigators from Miami-Dade got around to returning the phone call and ultimately arrested Miss Paez. Now, Miss Paez requested her son be taken away, far, far away, and possibly killed as soon as possible. Well, the boy lives with his grandmother, and Paez lived with her until May. Court records show that Paez was arrested on July 18th on charges of first-degree solicitation of murder and using communication device for unlawful use. Boy, all the planets aligned there. The guy running the parody website calls the police. They don't do anything. Gets referred to Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers are saying, hey, I want to report a crime. And they're saying, we're going to issue a cease and desist order if you don't stop contacting us. Well, I'm glad the police finally got back to the administrator, and Ms. Paez is now in custody. Obviously, we'll give her the presumption of innocence. Maybe she can use the CrimeTalk told me so defense. This was just a joke. It's a parody website. And I watched Scott Reich on CrimeTalk, and he always says murder for hires never work. I was just trying to check it out and see if that was true. Defense. There you go. You're welcome. Please go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to crimetalksearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. All right. Next, finally, our dumb criminal of the day. If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's apparently what a 67-year-old New Jersey man figured out when he allegedly tried to rob one bank, failed miserably, but then successfully robbed a bank across the street. Police allege that Ivan, name too difficult to pronounce, walked into a Wells Fargo and handed the teller a note demanding money. The teller denied the request, so Ivan left the bank and proceeded to walk across the intersection to the TD Bank on Madison Avenue across the street. And per the police, say that the teller there complied with the note and gave Ivan, last name too difficult to pronounce, walk out with about $1,500. Well, then on July 6th, police say Ivan, name too difficult to pronounce, robbed another bank. This time, he got away with it as well. It was after that he was arrested, and the police realized the matching description from the earlier robbery and the attempted robbery. Needless to say, he's been charged with 3 counts of second-degree bank robbery and is being held in the county jail. If it was an FDIC-insured bank, more than likely they would be prosecuted in the federal system, which is a much comfier ride. Ivan, last name too difficult to pronounce. Anyway, good luck. But today, you are our dumb criminal of the day. Congratulations, you made it. All right, it's been a busy week, ladies and gentlemen. First one we've actually had shows the entire week in a while just because of my schedule. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time on Crime Talk.